Right, leave meeting. There we go.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of our Monkey Mind podcast. As always, I'm Cuddy Cudworth. Chatter about the chatter. We are deep diving therapies and life coaching and any alternative way of therapy that gets people that mindset for happiness, for joy, whatever it is, overcoming anxiety, getting past depression. Yes, you can get past depression without antidepressants. That is my passion, David. That is my passion, getting people off antidepressants. And I know that we're going to be circling around that conversation today as well. And today, our host, no, I'm the host, obviously, David. But
Good. I wasn't prepared for that.
David's like, no, I'm not hosting. No, I'm not hosting. No, I'm the host. And our guest speaker today, and look, it's such a big thing because, David, we've been friends for such a long time, but hypnosis. I clearly do meditation. That's always going to be my thing for meditation. And I want to circle around questions the difference between meditation and hypnosis. That's going to come up later. And the power of subconscious mind, which we know full well stops us in so many different ways. The fear, the mindsets that we have, and how good you are at it, David. That's the biggest thing. I know that you are one of the best out there at helping clients get through the many challenges. So, David, introduce yourself to the masses and let me know a little bit about you.
Cuddy, thanks so much for the invite. It's really nice to see you. So I've been working as a master hypnotist, which is a hypnotherapist, stage hypnotist, life coach, trainer and speaker for about 34 years now. Very fortunate to have travelled the world with gigs, many of those on cruise ships, where we met, Cuddy, and it's been one hell of a journey, and I've enjoyed absolutely every second of it. I guess I've hypnotized well over 100,000 people, performing somewhere around 8,000 shows, 50 countries around the world. And every day has been an absolute pleasure. I've loved the journey.
I love that. David, that's brilliant. Yes, you've. So, is there a certain criteria so that you can call yourself a master hypnotist? What is the criteria to be able to call yourself a master hypnotist?
Okay, so master hypnotist is a advanced hypnotherapist and stage hypnotist. Yeah, that gives you the master title.
And David, can I ask you a question? What's the difference between stage hypnotism and hypnotherapy?
Great question. So, stage hypnosis is purely entertainment. It's about inviting people onto the stage and making them cluck like a chicken is the answer to that question, Cuddy. And you know, I've done that. I started as a stage hypnotist, and it's been an incredible journey. The amount of people that volunteers for the shows are just phenomenal, and you know, the reason I do the shows and still do them today occasionally is because it's just a great promotion for hypnosis. It's a great way to promote the hypnotherapy side, the hypnotherapy business. So stage hypnosis is on stage for fun. And, you know, sometimes when you have a laugh, that can just be the best therapy you need at that moment in time. Absolutely. But the follow-up from that then is the hypnotherapy, and hypnotherapy is working with a client mainly on a one-to-one basis, but you can do it in group sessions, but on a one-to-one basis, using hypnosis to access the subconscious to enable them to make a change of some kind. So maybe they want to sleep better. We all know people who've probably used hypnosis for quitting smoking, for removing fears and phobias. That's the hypnotherapy side.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Now, I believe it or not, when I'm working with clients, I use NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which is very similar, but not the same in any way whatsoever when you deep dive it. So what's your thoughts on NLP, David?
Okay, NLP is incredibly beneficial, and if anybody's watching that, my suggestion is learn it.
Yeah,
Learn
absolutely.
it. You know, there's some courses out there. You don't have to spend an awful lot of money, but it's all about programming the mind.
Yeah,
And you know, it's about using the right words to other people and to yourself,
yeah,
because every word that you say is an affirmation. An affirmation is something that rewires the brain, and so everything that you say, your subconscious mind listens to.
yeah.
And so if you want to be angry to somebody else, well, at the same time you're being angry to yourself. Whatever you put out there, you receive back. So there's no gift that you can ever give away to somebody without receiving a percentage of that yourself. And so
Absolutely.
NLP is about using the right words.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I made a bold statement and a quote in the Facebook group that thoughts, emotions, and judgment are like boomerangs. Whatever you throw out, you will get back.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of those boomerangs can go out a long way and take a while to get back. But if you've thrown a few out and you threw them hard, keep ducking because they're heading your way.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. So I know when I'm working with my clients, and it's funny because a lot of my clients are always, well, how can you work? You're not a medical professional. Why can you work with people with depression? Because we have a great understanding of what depression is. It's brought on by the way that we're thinking. We're thinking about something that we don't have, or we're thinking about the past and things like that. And before we started the conversation, we're talking about antidepressants, Dave. Antidepressants and how much they don't work, how much they can work to a minimal about. And that's why I started the podcast, is because I wanted to get out there the message of all these different therapies that are available to help people with depression and overcoming anxiety, because we both are of the understanding that depression and anxiety come from the thoughts, and the thoughts is something that we don't realize we can control. But actually, when you realize you are in charge of your thoughts, it's like that light switch for you. So antidepressants, David, you brought a fantastic fact to it that I know I'm going to be definitely sharing because I've not seen that program. So tell us about the antidepressants.
Okay, so any medicine or any medical procedure today has to beat the power of placebo. So if they want to bring out a new operation on the knee, they do the operation, but they have to compare that to the power of a blind placebo, where and a placebo is simply, could be as simple as a sugar pill. If we say it's a sugar pill, in other words, you're feeling unwell, the doctor prescribes you a sugar pill, and you suddenly feel better. There's a reason behind that, and you know, if your mind believes that you are receiving something that is going to help you, then that placebo effect will release endorphins in the mind. So, you know, people think a placebo is nothing. It's not. It's using the mind's pharmacy. And so, in effect, a sugar pill is about 4% less successful compared to an antidepressant. So an antidepressant beats a sugar pill by about 4%.
4%.
And yet, because of that, they can sell billions of dollars of antidepressants, which can cause more problems. So we've got to say, if anybody is listening to this, that doesn't mean to say come off your antidepressants.
No.
It means seek more help alongside.
Yes.
Because there's easier and better ways.
Easier, affordable. I think, and I don't know what your thoughts on this one is, especially, look, I'll even talk very openly about not my actual family members, but some people in my family that are on antidepressants. And we always talk about the power of it's easier to take a pill than maybe talk about our emotions and what's actually problems, because we practice avoidance. First of all, it's the double A's of acceptance. I'm allowing things to happen, and then there is the allowance as well. So we're accepting it, and then we avoidance. Sorry, it's double A's for me. We avoid talking about something because we think it's going to cause us pain, or then brings in the shame. And That's why we get into this business, is to let people that there's so many easier ways than actually going down that route. And you talked about the power of the mind there and the placebo. So we could literally sell polos. If we took the polo branding off and said this is the future of antidepressants, we could sell polos. That's the power of the placebo, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is. If you and there's so many studies with the power of placebo as well. It's phenomenal. Some people have even known that they're taking a placebo and they have healed things such as depression. And then even if they, there isn't a placebo on prescription, you can't go and get a placebo. Unfortunately, it'd be a great thing to introduce. And so, but they do tests with people. They put them on placebos, told them it's a placebo, and they've still healed. When you stop giving them the placebo, the symptoms come back, which is just incredible. It just shows how powerful the mind is. And as you've said, Cuddy, just now, we are programmed negatively.
We are.
It's how we're programmed. And we think we're probably about 90% negative. That's the way the brain. And the reason the brain is wired 90% negative is, if we go back to when you were a caveman and you're sat in the cave, and you've got to go get food, you've got to venture out, but there's a saber-toothed tiger out there. It's easier and it's safer to stay at home. And so you stay at home, put the Netflix on, stay at home. But when you've got to go out and get the food, you've got to go out. And so all the time when you're out there, your subconscious mind, your fight and flight mechanism is always looking for a way to protect you and looking for the easiest way out.
Yeah.
And the easiest way out is just to let it happen, or to take a tablet, rather than to put the effort in to learn how to reprogram your mind yourself through the power of thought.
It does take effort, but it's never as I think you just nailed that. You absolutely nailed it on the head there, David, because it's that old premise of you have to choose your hard. Is the hard where you are right now, which is lonely, scared, emotional, feeling like you're broken sometimes. A lot of my clients always come to me and say, I feel like I'm broken. You're not broken. You don't need fixing. We just need to change the way that you think. It's that simple premise, but it does take effort. It takes effort. I used meditation to get me from where I was, I think 9-10 years ago now, to this, the happy-go-lucky person that we see now. But meditation worked for me. But we have worked on ships and we have done seminars. I've always done the power of meditation, and you've always done the power of hypnosis. And the reason I'm smiling, and the reason you're smiling, David, is because the question's going to come, because we know all the inner workings and how it works and the premise of everything. I was doing some seminars in the middle of COVID about 3 months ago. And the only booking I could get was after a hypnosis teacher and the power of hypnosis. And it just popped into my head. And I was like, they're going to ask me what's the difference between meditation and hypnosis. And I thought, do you know what? I don't know the answer. So I Googled it. So do you know what? I'm going to ask you the question, David. What is the difference?
You should have planned this.
I told you, honestly, what is the difference? And I like the fact that you are laughing at this one, and I've gone red as well, because what's the difference between hypnosis and meditation? Because we both have their values.
So we've got two experts on here about both, and neither of us knows the difference. Then is that what you're saying? I think it comes down to your personal understanding of the definition.
Right.
So we'll pass that to anybody who's watching this to work out what their definition is of the two.
That is... right. All right. I thought you were going to come straight in with it's this and it's this. Because
some genius answer. You were hoping for a spell of genius. It's not going to come. It's not that.
So, because there's different styles of meditation. There's so many different styles of meditation, whether it's chanting, affirmations, whether it's the focus of one word, whether it's just, I do it. Honestly, mine's a very basic breathing meditation. For me, I like just music on in the background, and I do my simple monkey mind method, which I always talk about in the Facebook group and stuff like that. A really simple count of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you just go. Your consciousness just goes. That we know full well there's different states of consciousness and things like that. And so my understanding, I can't believe you've left me to answer this one, David.
Carry on, you're doing a great job.
So,
I highly recommend you.
Because I was like, well, what's the difference? So meditation is something you can do on your own, and hypnosis, you can do it with somebody else, and they help you and guide you and take you down to those, and they understand, you're fully complicit in understanding of the different levels of consciousness and how you can unlock the power of subconscious. You can do that with a meditation, but it's different completely. It is an actual different system, and hypnosis is going guided with a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist that takes you down and has a chat with the subconscious, because there's two conversations that go on at times.
Couldn't have put it better myself. No, I think you're right there. My sort of understanding or definition of relaxation is, and meditation is focus in the present on one target, to find the purest level of relaxation and being at that moment. Beautiful. So that would be my thought of meditation. And hypnosis is exactly what you said. It's having a guide there to guide you through those various brainwaves to a level of relaxation where the guide, or the operator as we would call them, gives you the tools to enable you to change your mindset. Brilliant. But I think it's down to the individual. Back to the initial one, depends on your understanding of the definitions. But that would be mine. I think it's exactly the same as yours.
Brilliant, David. No, it's good. Honestly, the power, and the power of the subconscious and the unconscious, two different levels. Yes. I would, for our listeners and viewers of this lovely little podcast that we've started, can you point to him, David?
Oh, okay. So you'll be talking left brain,
right?
Is your conscious,
right?
And right brain is the unconscious. Is that what you mean? So
well. I always like, when I'm talking to my clients, because we talk about the power of the subconscious, 100%, it keeps you alive. It's always listening, constantly listening. If your conscious mind is looking here, your subconscious is looking for dinosaurs. We go back to the dinosaur reference, right? Yeah. So it's always awake. So it's always taking everything in. And that's where all these beliefs come in. And what we all fully know, that once we have those beliefs, I've got a great belief story about my wife. And it was an implemented memory that we'll talk about shortly after, because you're going to love that. I know you'll love that one. Carol will kill me when I tell her about the story that I shared on a podcast. But no, that the power of the subconscious. I always ask my clients when I'm working with, can you point to your subconscious for me? What? It's like, can you point to your subconscious? Because we all know the power of the subconscious, but where is it?
So if you're comparing power, your conscious mind, your thinking mind, your ability to say I am, the power of that is about 11 bits of information per second. That's how much you can process. You can't really multitask. You can only do one thing. You can do several things with less power, but it's much easier to focus on one thing and do one thing correctly, 100%. If we look at mind power, in that consciousness, it's probably about 4% of mind power. So 96% of brain power is in the unconscious. Your unconscious is processing about 2 million bits of information per second. So conscious, thinking mind, about 11 bits of information. Subconscious, 2 million bits of information. And that's your whole body feeding information back. So it's your thoughts, it's your affirmations, it's your memories, it's all of your systems, it's your fight and flight mechanisms, it's your digestive system, it's your health and immune systems. All of that information is changing all the time. You're growing every second, you're learning every second, 2 million bits of information. And yet we don't know, but we think we're using probably about less than 4% of the unconscious. That's how much we learn to tap into it. So percentage-wise and power-wise, your unconscious mind is probably about 50,000 times more powerful than your conscious thought. Brilliant. That's where the power is. That's where the power of hypnosis is. And the reason that's helpful today, Cuddy, is because nobody has time. There's no time. We're living in a world of overload, a world of huge amounts of information that we can't process. You know, people listening in now have emails to write. They've got posts to send out. They've got work to do. They've got tea to make. They've got the kids to look after. There's a car to clean. The grass to be mown. Nobody has time anymore. And that's where hypnosis wins. You can achieve things so much faster by tapping into your unconscious mind. See, the thing with the unconscious mind is it doesn't judge, it doesn't question. Yep. Everything is real. You can't pretend in your unconscious mind. It's real. Every thought that you have in your unconscious mind is real. You know, when you were young, your unconscious mind is very open. And so you believe in fairies. You believe in Father Christmas.
David, I have to stop you there. What do you mean when I believe in fairies? Are you saying there's no fairies? Because I would have to challenge that, David.
I'll let you pull me up on that one. We all know a few fairies, Goody. All these things are in your as you're growing, your unconscious mind is open. It's not protected. It's only when you get to puberty when you start to create judgment. And from that point, when you create judgment, you then create your own beliefs and things. Up until then, you're programmed. And the reason behind that is, again, back to being a caveman. You've got to be born in a position ready to run or to fight. And so your mind is open and learns very, very quickly. Once you hit puberty, you ask any teenager who's just hit puberty, they know everything, don't they? Because all of a sudden this judgment just pops in and they know it all. Up until then, they're very, very open. And so the subconscious mind doesn't judge. It just accepts everything as the honest truth. And so with hypnosis, you relax somebody, open the subconscious mind, and then reprogram and rewire their thoughts. Brilliant. And so the reprogramming is instant. It doesn't take years. It's done instantly. And so in an hour, you can help somebody to make a change. See, the conscious mind is like a keyboard on the computer. It's where all the information goes in. And the information, once it's gone into the computer, goes onto your subconscious mind or your hard drive.
Yep.
Once it's stored on the hard drive, then that's it. And it's there until it's reprogrammed by your own conscious thoughts over a long period of time, or through hypnosis in a matter of minutes. Brilliant. I guess to compare the conscious and subconscious, the way I like it is the conscious mind. Imagine a person sat on an elephant. That's the conscious mind. The conscious mind is the person, and you think you're in control, and you think you're controlling the elephant, and you've got the day under control, and everything's good, until the elephant decides it's going to do something different. And if the elephant wants to go a different way, it's going to go a different way. And that's exactly what the subconscious is. You believe that you have control. If you're not controlling your subconscious, and there's negatives or uncertainties in the unconscious, if it decides to go down that road, it's going to go there, and you haven't got the conscious power to change it.
Brilliant.
You're just going to drop yourself in it again.
Brilliant. Love that. That's such a great analogy about the elephant. That's fantastic, because obviously mine's everything about the monkey mind, and I always say who's in control, you or your monkey mind, because your monkey mind's always looking for threat. It's constantly looking for it. That is its point. Keep you safe, and I love it, Dave. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So you said you'd been a hypnotist for 34 years. So you've started when? Wow, I mean, you must have started when you were 7-year-old, Dave.
I like you. I like you very much. So it's something that I've done pretty much all my life. I left school, went into financial services. I spent a few years doing that, but didn't like that. Wanted to do something different. Saw a few stage hypnotists and thought, wow, that's not real. And so decided to look into it, and started looking into it, and then went, maybe this is real. And I wanted to try it, never to do it professionally, but I wanted to try it. And so I went on a training course, and you train how to do stage hypnosis. I guess it's one of the few secrets that probably isn't revealed properly on Google. Hypnosis or stage hypnosis is just a little bit of magic that's still hidden away. And so I trained, and again, never meant to do it other than to just try it out. And I tried it out a few times. Can I tell you the story? You can cut this out if we go too long.
No, it's fine.
First time I ever hypnotized anybody, I phoned a friend of mine. His name's Barry. So I phoned Barry, come round the house. He said, why, what are we doing? I said, you know that stage hypnosis stuff I've learned? He said, yeah. He said, well, that's what we're doing. He went, okay then. So the next day, 7:30, Barry turns up, little knock at the door, in comes Barry. I said, right, Barry, we're going to go straight into hypnosis. So you're ready for this? He went, yeah. I said, right, put your hands like this. Do that. Squeeze them nice and tight. Put your head up. Look up there. So he's following her away. Next moment, and sleep now. And Barry just goes over. I catch him and he's out. He's out cold on the floor. And I'm looking at this. And you do the obvious thing in that situation. I kicked him. It's like, Barry, wake up, stop messing about. And he didn't move. I said, Barry, are you okay? Now, all of a sudden, I'm getting a little bit nervous now. And he's out cold. So I touched him on the shoulder. I said, Barry, on the count of 3, you'll be able to open your eyes. You'll sit up and you'll be convinced that you're madly and passionately in love with your shoes. So I touch him, and Barry sits up. I said, are you okay? He said, I'm sorry about that. I just fell over. I said, no, you're as long as you're okay. I said, sit down in the chair. So he sits down. I said, are you okay, Barry? He went, yeah. And nothing. I said, have you got anything to tell me? He went, no. I said, are you hypnotized? He went, no. And so, being very British, I said, would you like a cup of tea? He said yes. I go in the kitchen, make a cup of tea, come out. As I walk out, Barry's got his shoe in his arm, and he's kissing it and stroking it. He goes, oh, David, I love my shoes. And I just thought, this is nuts. This is crazy. If hypnosis can do this, what can we fix? How can we change the world? And it was just incredible. And from that moment, it was, okay, how do we use this as entertainment, but to show people the power of the mind so that they can heal? And that was the starting point 34 years ago.
Can I ask a question, David?
The answer is no. I've never seen Barry since.
He ran away with his shoes.
He got married. They're happily married. Still in love to this day. Of course, you can ask a question, could he?
That was the question.
Oh, was it?
Is he still in love with his shoes? Oh,
it was amazing to be able to do it, but then a privilege to think, okay, This is the power of the mind. How can we help people? And since then, I've never stopped working with, since that day.
Yeah.
I've never stopped working with people, and pretty much from that day, I was full time.
Brilliant.
That was it. That was it. I just the financial services company that I was working for closed down.
Yep.
And so and left me pretty much with nothing overnight. And I thought, okay, I've got to do something, and maybe this is it, or at least I'll do this until I find a new place or a proper job. And here we are, 34 years later. I'm still looking for a job. Nobody will employ me anymore.
Still looking for a job. Not looking for Barry, but still looking for a job.
Yeah, Barry will turn up when the time's right. I always believe that.
I can just see Barry turning up with his 2 shoes in his hand and following little shoes behind him.
Wouldn't that be sweet?
And I can vision you saying, Barry, you all right? Yeah, fine, mate. Yeah. Are you hypnotized? No, not at all. Oh, David, look, we got to do more of these. I love talking about hypnosis. I love talking about stories. We have to do more, because I've got a story about one of my wife's beliefs, but I'm going to leave that for another podcast with you, because we need you on, especially when it comes to those alternative therapies and getting people the help that they need. That's not always about going through the medical part. That is the huge part about that. So brilliant. David, please come back for another podcast. And we'll get the message. Now, how can our listeners, viewers start getting in contact with you?
Fantastic. They can search David Knight Hypnotist on Facebook or website, all the W's, davidknighthypnosis.com. I'm available there. Thanks, Cuddy. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's lovely to see you. And, it's great to have a laugh along the way as well, isn't it?
Obviously, we always use the joke, laughter is the best medicine unless you're diabetic. But that's an age-old joke of how good laughter is. But laughter, we were talking about this before the podcast. Laughter genuinely is one of those things that actually can, like the placebo, make you feel better just by laughing and vibrations and changing.
It's the mind's pharmacy. When you laugh, you release dopamine, and dopamine, the mean, is like morphine. It eases pain, and it makes you feel good. It's the mind's chemicals. You just got to learn how to release it.
Yeah,
perfect. I love hypnosis. For me, hypnosis, on a final point, hypnosis is a difference between taking the bicycle or the jet plane. Yes, apps. It's that quick, mate. Honestly, thank you so much, David. I genuinely appreciate that. You're welcome. I've loved it. I'll see you soon.
We will do another one in the future. I've got a feeling that this might actually not just be a one-off. I've got a feeling this might be a future.
I've got a few stories to tell, whether it's about hypnotherapy or whether it's about stage shows, whatever you want. It's been a great journey.
We have to do another one so we can talk about Julie.
Oh, we need Julie.
We haven't got enough time. I actually have to say, David, we do not have enough time because we have to talk about Julie. To me, Julie is still the best sketch. And if there's any, because I know you can advertise this on your socials, if there's any of our friends that we both know we are friends with, and Paul Trainer, I'm going to talk to you on this one. I hope Paul, or aka Julie, gets to watch this podcast, this video. I'm even going to tag Julie or Paul Trainer on this one. I'm going to tag him on it.
Do you know what? We could get him on and hypnotize him. You could do it through Zoom. It works through Zoom. If I'm helping people with therapy, the beautiful thing about the therapy is that you just log on to Zoom and you can work all around the world. You know, 1 minute I'll be working in California, then in Australia. The next minute you're in Europe somewhere. So we're working all around the world through Zoom. But you can use stage hypnosis through Zoom. That might be funny.
I've got a feeling it's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. I've got a feeling. We're going to bring that to us. Honestly, David, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Cheers. Take care.
Take care. See you later, David. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.